Hi, it's Ileana here, and today I want to discuss what we see in the sky. So yesterday was September the 6th, 2017, and I was out on my balcony. It was about 10:11 p.m. And I was looking at the red moon. Now sometimes the moon can be red because of fires. And there is a fire across the mountain away from me. I'm on Black Mountain in Kelowna, BC. So that's why the moon was red. That's what I think. And I took a picture of the red moon. The moon has always fascinated me. To me, it's something of a childhood fascination that I have to this day. So basically, when I was taking the picture of the moon, when I looked at the picture afterwards, I saw an orb, like a huge white orb, directly, almost like perpendicular in symmetry to the moon. So that to me is interesting. What you see with the naked eye is not always what's really actually there. Sometimes the camera will pick up something in the image that you don't actually see with your eyes, because I was only seeing the moon. I didn't see any orbs floating around, but my camera captured the orb and it was quite large. That brings me to an interesting subject I wanted to discuss, which is cloaking technology. Advanced extraterrestrial species often have technology that can make ships and other objects in the sky invisible. They can cloak the ships. Or there's technology, holographic technology, that makes you think the ship is not there. You're looking at the sky, you're only seeing the sun, but you're not seeing the ship that's hovering by, going by, traveling. That's not an airplane, that's not a helicopter, it's not anything you've seen before. You don't see that extraterrestrial hovercraft going by because the ship's holographic technology is making you think that there's nothing there in front of you, in front of your eyes. Your field of vision is not seeing anything, but in reality there is an extraterrestrial ship traveling through our airspace right above us. And there's also the cloaking technology, which can make the ships invisible. So if somebody tries to take a picture of it, they won't be able to because it's cloaked. So there's degrees of mind control involved in making us think that there's nothing there in the skies when there's air traffic of extraterrestrial ships flying above us all the time. That's quite common. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've seen reptilian ships quite a few times. I've seen them with my eyes, psychically. I've seen it. And in the sky. But I couldn't take a picture of it because it's cloaked. Like, I could psychically see it, but I could not take the picture because the ship was cloaked. And there's been mistakes sometimes where ETs forget to activate the cloaking technology or the holographic technology to prevent us from seeing these ships in the sky. So there's been known some mistakes to happen, and people have captured photos of craft that are not terrestrial, so to speak, that don't belong to Earth. They're not ours. They're from space, extraterrestrial in nature. So I have a picture of yesterday's photograph of the moon in the middle and the orb to the side, kind of. And I also inserted an image of a reptilian cruiser ship. It's similar to what I had seen a few years ago off the coast of BC. So the reason why I included it is just an example of what can be. I had seen that ship psychically. And I remember what it looks like. It's long, it's very elongated, it has sharp edges, it's sort of circular but not. And it was greenish gray. And by the look of it, I knew it was reptilian, because reptilian cruiser ships look like that. And sometimes these cruisers will either spray chemicals on the planet, or they'll emit electromagnetic fields of some sort. And this is to prevent us from advancing in evolution in certain areas and cities that are, you know, on the cusp of some kind of technological advancement or evolution or whatnot, or an epiphany. So this technology, the spraying of various chemicals, it prevents you from thinking about something, literally. It puts you on a different tangent of thought processes. It diverts you from that awesome discovery of curing cancer, for example, something like that. Or the electromagnetic field makes you feel sick. It gives you a headache. It makes you nauseous, vomit, or even can make you die. It can make you sick and die if you're on the brink of some kind of discovery that could change the world, that can get rid of pollution, for example. Some kind of a technology, clean energy technology that will save the world, literally. The electromagnetic field, the different various bands and rays coming from the ship that's being beamed down on you, is going to make you sick. So you actually don't invent that thing that you're working on that you think is so important to help save the world. So these reptilian ships, especially the Draco ships, are capable of doing that. And there's certainly other ships, extraterrestrial ships out there. It's not just reptilians that are in our Earth space. There's many different various species of ETs that come and visit Earth. But the Draco reptilians are the most prominent ones. And they've been involved in our Earth history for a long time. As long as we've been here, they've been here longer. So they've manipulated us for quite a long time. There's like full-blooded reptilians, and there's human reptilian hybrids that walk among us, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference because they could shapeshift. They could look like us. The hybrids could look like us. And they are among us. And their cloaked ships are also among us in our Earth skies, along with the airplanes, the helicopters, and whatever else flies that our Earth shadow governments make, reverse engineer from crashed ET craft, or make themselves. And human governments and secret space programs also have the capability of cloaking their ships and making them invisible so we can't see them. They have that capability. They've had it for 50, 60 odd years already. The secret space program has had it. Lockheed Martin has had it. Shadow governments have had it. So it's not a new concept. It's been explored in Star Trek with the Romulans and the Klingons, that they've been able to literally cloak their ships. The Romulans. Even Starfleet was able to achieve cloaking their ships, but it was illegal. Because Starfleet were the good guys, so they were actually policing the galaxies and patrolling, making sure the bad guys wouldn't get away with it. So they were used as a role model of being the good cops as versus the bad cops. So they didn't use cloaking technology. But there are negative ETs out there that do use cloaking, and they can even cloak themselves, their physical bodies. They wear a suit that you press a button on the suit and it cloaks them, makes them invisible. And it's a certain electromagnetic field that's constantly being balanced out. It changes frequency every couple of minutes. So if somebody tries to disrupt the cloaking field, they can't do it easily because the frequencies change quickly. Unless you get an electrical taser or a big electrical prod that's like 1 million volts or 10 million volts, and you like literally zap the ET that's wearing that cloaking suit. Then you can temporarily disrupt the cloaking technology of the suit, and you'll briefly see an outline of the ET that's wearing the cloaking technology suit. But they'll quickly re-energize their electromagnetic fields, rebalance them, and they'll be cloaked again. And next time that you want to see them, you'll need a higher voltage of electricity, of electrical current, magnetic current, to shock them and to disable the cloaking suit. Every time they'll adjust to the frequencies, so it'll make it harder for you to be able to zap them and see them. Because they do adapt quickly, their technologies are advanced and they adapt quickly. So they're very good at cloaking themselves, so you don't see them. Some people have been able to see them psychically, using your other senses other than the 5 ones, using your 6th, 7th sense. So you see beyond the human eyes. You see beyond the human eye spectrum. You see higher on the spectrum grid than just with your eyes. You see energy. You go beyond just eyes. You see energy. And that's how you can see the cloaked suit. Through energy vibration. Because it's electricity. And it's technology. So some people can see cloaked beings. And there's some energetic beings that are just energy. They're pure energy, and they can become corporeal or non-corporeal, or partially corporeal and non-corporeal. So there's various degrees of energetics and what types of beings there are out there. So there's the technological cloaking devices and suits that ETs can wear. There's shape-shifting ETs that can look like anyone or anything, and they can camouflage with their environment wherever they are, so they can mimic something or look like something and you wouldn't have any idea, because they can shapeshift. And there's beings that are literally energy and can take on physical form, biological form, or if they want, or they could just be energy and they could switch back and forth as needed. So there's all kinds of degrees of cloaking. It could be technological, it could be biological, or it could be a little bit of both. So it doesn't just apply to ships. It can be applied to living beings as well, and objects can be cloaked too. But for this video, I'm using the example of the image with the moon and the orb and the image of the reptilian ship that I inserted into my original picture. And I also enlarged the moon a little bit so you could see its structure better, because when I photographed it, it was kind of small. So I'm also showing ratio sizes, because that does matter. What's in proportion with my image of the moon and the orb. And that's very important when taking photography. If you're lucky, sometimes an ET species will forget to cloak their ship and you'll take a picture of it. Sometimes you'll see it just psychically, but then you can later on find an image of what it looked like on the internet and you can add it into your presentation. Because I believe in, when you're describing something, what you experienced or felt or went through, if you don't have the image, you know, if you don't have the image of it, a picture that you can take or video, at least find a likeness of what the thing looks like, of what you saw. Because even a likeness image gives a representation for people to understand what the heck you saw and what you're talking about. But do explain that it's a likeness and where you got it from, so there's no confusion of people thinking, oh yeah, that's the image that you drew yourself, you're the artist or whatever. Just explain it. But it's good to give references to likenesses of what you saw if you can't get a picture or get it on video. And sometimes I can't get it on video or a picture, so I will find a likeness, a very close likeness on the internet, and use that as my explanation for what I'm describing and showing. In terms of craft, in terms of technology, that's what I usually do. If I don't have my own images that I've generated, I find something similar that looks like what I'm describing. Because it's important to provide examples. Discussing these things is very important as well. It's testimony and it's factoids, but it's also important to have visuals. Because when you have a write-up or you're discussing something, your explanation is great, but show a visual, because that provides more clarity and understanding. At least in my research methodology and how I do things. In my own interviews and presentations and vlogs and talks. So this is my little discussion about cloaking and technology and biology and physicality and what different beings can do. So thank you so much and namaste.